Okay, so I don't know how this is going to work out, but we'll give it a go. So I'm going to apologies if the video on here is a little bit shaky. I don't have I've got this macro lens, but the camera that it's on doesn't have a body stabilisation. The macro lens doesn't have any stabilisation on it, so we're going to have to play it by ear here. And first thing to do is we'll clean the tip, but I've got a sort of reasonably large soldering iron here. What I'm trying to do is sorry, that didn't work, did it? What I'm trying to do is, if you see the end of the wire here, I'm trying to get it tinned. And I'm going to see if I can do this without it getting... it's going to be hard, this. But essentially, I'm going to just get a little bit of solder on there, tin the end, and that's it. That was actually on for quite a long time. I'm just going to... There we go, clean it off a little bit. So, I don't know if you can see that, but it's got the tiniest little bit of tinned end there. Not sure if that's visible or not. Hopefully it is. And then I get a much smaller tipped iron, and hopefully it's going to work. There we go. Then all I need to do is get it soldered onto here. I use the sort of bigger tipped iron for this, just to get the insulation off this enamelled wire. Takes a little bit of heat, so always best to have use a big iron for that. Well, everything's relative, of course. Snip the end off, and let's do the next one. So again, I'm going to just see if we can make this work. I'm trying to get the focus on it. Actually, I should do a manual focus on here, but we'll see how we get on. So hopefully it'll auto-focus if it's whatever. Now, bear in mind I'm doing this under the microscope and not watching what's going on at the same time. So the tiniest bit of solder on there. Hopefully get a nice tinned end, tiny little tinned end there. With the big iron. Always clean the tip, by the way. Just becomes a natural thing for me just to clean the tip all the time. And then we're going to attempt to get this one on here. And I'm possibly going to move to a... Oh, that's not got enough. You don't want any coffee when you're doing this. There we go. That's that one. It will ruin it, any coffee. So what you'll notice I'm actually doing is for the middle balls, what I'm doing is I'm actually going to be leaving a spot free. It's not tinned yet. You might find you need to add a little bit of solder just to get it tinned. But, just going to lift that up. You can see it's actually gone through the insulation. Now the other thing is I've been using this wire for 40 years, and that might explain something, but the outer insulation, when it gets burnt off, is pretty nasty, so I do seriously recommend that you keep everything reasonably well ventilated. So let's do this again. So there we go, we've got this. I'll put a little bit of solder on. There you go, done. Bet I didn't see the light of day on the camera. And what we're going to get here is, because we're really close into another one. There we go, I knew it was going to happen. We've just lost that one on the corner, so I have to go back and redo that. I could do with a smaller tip, to be honest with you, but that's almost as small as I've got. I've got a slightly more slightly longer tip, but I can't get the temperature up to the right setting, unfortunately, so let's get in there. Done. So I'm going to see if we can get in here and tweak this one back onto its little perch. So here's this. There we go. I wouldn't spend too long on it. I'm just noticing this one here has got a little bit of... It's not actually shorted. I'm looking through the microscope here. There we go. It's a little bit more like it. So let's see if we can do some more now. I'm going to just show you this tinning thing, and hopefully the autofocus will work. I'm not massively hopeful, but so what I do, put the wire on the end. It's not autofocusing, is it? Yeah, you had it for a moment there. Well, you can do it. Just... Right, it's not having it. Let's move this back again now. Okay, try again. There we go. So, as you can see, it's just the shortest bit of tinned end there. Beautiful. The pitch on this is 0.5mm, by the way. You can get smaller ones. This is only my third attempt at doing this, by the way, so I would not call myself an expert by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, typical BGA, the 1mm BGAs are simple to do. You see that they have they're enormous in comparison. Put the line out now. Let's see if we can do this. Oops, some rubbish on the end of there. So I use both a wet sponge, and I've got some of that crinkly metallic stuff. There we go. That's good enough. Oops, he moved it. There we go. Nice. So, as I say, this red, years ago we used to call it red wire. There's two types of this stuff. There's the stuff where the enamel just doesn't come off, and there's this stuff where it does, and we used to call it, well, pink wire. Stuff that's a bit more purpley. It doesn't seem to work quite as well, so tip on the end of the iron, put a little bit of solder on, there you go. Tiniest, I mean, I would say that bear in mind as pitch here, that's actually less than, that's probably about 0.2, 0.3mm of tinned end there, and it's easier to do it that way than to Oops, that wasn't too smart, was it? Let's see how we can recover ourselves. Ooh, this is getting pretty testy now. Ooh. Do that, and let's see if we can. Once the solder disappears off the ball, by the way, I found it extremely difficult to. There we go. I found it extremely difficult to get this going again. Let's see, how do I do this? Did I miss one here? No. Next one down. Okay, pin 15. What I'm trying to do here is to do the minimum of overlapping wires when it comes to doing the pads in the middle. Once you start doing those, it's going to be a bit of fun, that's for sure. There we go. So the fun bit's going to come when I start doing the middle pins. I really should have had no caffeine today. Unfortunately, I do like my caffeine, but last caffeine I had was probably about lunchtime, and we're now at about 8 p.m. So hopefully the effects have worn off enough that I can make a reasonable hack at this. Well, that actually looks like I'm about to tin it. It looks like it's just about right, so this is going to be fun. Right, I'm going to get the really long tipped one out now. Which is a Hacko tip. The other ones are Wellers. This one is a Hacko tip. See, it's just possible to get in there without affecting the others, but man, is it tough going. Okay. Let's stick a bit more solder on there. Now, you don't actually have to do all of the pins, and in fact for this particular thing I don't have to do any of the middle pins, but I'm just going to do one just to show you that it is possible to do the middle pins as well, even though if you can avoid it I wouldn't bother. Too much like hard work. Let's see if there'd be one that'd be nice to do. There's one in the middle. I fancy doing one in the middle. Let's do one on the edge. Tin the end. So, okay. So what I'm going to try and do here is I'm going to try to manipulate the wire a little bit so that it's actually comes straight down. Probably a little bit too much. Not straight down, but at a bit of an angle. And then onto the pad, if we can call it that. So I'm aiming at that one there, If this works, it'll be a miracle. You see the ball is starting to run out of solder there, so let's just see if we can get it on there. That's not good actually. I think the ball's almost lost its solder. So what I'm going to try and do is to just attach the other end so we've got something. Come on. You know you want to do it. The thing is, I think it's making a connection, it's just not mechanically very solid at the pad at the ball end, so let's have a look. Let's try a wee bit of fluxy juice. See, the ball is down. There we go, that's good. It's good enough. Okay, this ball is now sort of starting to run out of solder, and I don't have the wherewithal to actually be able to re-ball these things, so let's to the end again. I'm going to do similar thing to last time. Let's get it anchored down the other end, and then mechanically I can feel it's very, very weak at the ball. So that's much better. Awesome. Oh, one other thing. Double check and triple check the allocation of the balls on these. Bearing in mind you're soldering these upside down. I thought I had done the first time I did it, but I got the ball allocation wrong and wasted an evening trying to debug something that I'd was essentially trying to solder on the mirror of what it really should have been. Let's see if we can get this to go. We're going to have to put a bit of flux on here again, I think. Again, there's not much solder left on this board, so I need to take a bit of care. It's just... it's actually not too bad, that one. I might go back and redo it, but it's certainly not a disaster. I don't know what happened there, but it decided to stop recording for some reason. Luckily I noticed it. I've got a monitor behind me, so I can notice when it stops recording. So let's see if we can get this next one done as well. As I say, I wasn't actually going to do them all, but now I'm started, I might as well finish. Nothing like a bit of practice when you're doing this sort of stuff. A bit like self-flagellation, I suppose, isn't it? That sort of thing. Stick a bit of the old fluxy on there. Now, luckily, these balls seem to still have some solder on. Famous last words, but they do have some solder on. Just about to use the wrong iron. So, actually, running 3 irons to do this today. Problem with that, it's done that one pretty nice, but it's taken all the solder off of that middle pad, which is a bit of a pain. But let's see how we get on. But it's a good joint at the moment. Let's get this soldered up. If I get all of these done, it will be a miracle. The other thing I should say is that you do get better at this, so what I would recommend is just accept the fact the first couple you're going to do are going to be a bit messy, but good engineers learn from their mistakes, I guess, at the end of the day. Now, bearing in mind this is going to be hooking down here, I need to just orient myself reasonably well for that. Stick a bit of the old flux on there again. Awesome. Oh, wrong iron again. Oh, this is hard. I can tell you right now, this is pretty hard. Get in there. Come on. Well, he's there. I'm not sure it's how I want it. It's not very mechanically strong yet, so let's just get this end done. Come on. Stick a bit of solder in there just to get it going. And go all day. Yeah. Awesome. So now the problem I've got with this one is that it's it's not very mechanically strong yet, and it's also getting in the way of the adjacent one that I have yet to do, so well, that's alright. Pretty happy with that. Just going to zoom in with the microscope just to sort of check to see that you won't be able to see this. There's no short there. Alright, we're good. We're good. Brilliant. Okay, let's zoom out a little bit and do the very last wire. I'm sorry if I get in the way. I'm trying not to. I'm trying to remember not to. The interesting thing is actually what I'm doing here is I can't actually see it very well because I'm actually doing it from the through the microscope, and there we go. And the field of vision is not too great. Actually, I might zoom out a little bit more just to make it a bit easier. But there we go. Okay, so one more to go. I'm sorry you didn't get me right at the beginning, but I was on such a roll I thought I should make a video of this, and that's what we have. Now, what I would say, despite all of this, these joints are not particularly strong. So what I did find was I had one that this is a bit scary. This is the very last one. What I did find was that one that I did, I thought I'd put it into a good box and it was well protected, but far from it. It was it managed to. The connections did actually manage to disconnect despite being in a protected sort of box. So I would say once you know the thing works, I would have a go at have a little go at. Hang on. Come on, baby, that's it. I would have a little go at maybe putting some goo on it, not necessarily epoxy, but perhaps snot glue, hot snot glue, something just to give it some sort of additional. Let me solder already, have I? Oh, it's probably done there, is it? Nearly. Let's put some extra solder on. Just to give it that a bit more longevity, because this is absolutely, you wouldn't want to do this in anything more than a lab setting, because it's not going to last very long with any sort of rigour. Okay, so I'm still not totally happy with that, so it's not particularly a strong joint, so I'm just going to put a little bit of this on it, a little bit of the old flux, and then we'll glue it up. It's looking a bit busy down here actually, I have to say. That's it. We are done. That, ladies and gentlemen, is how to do a 20-pin wafer scale package. Well, I don't know if this is going to zoom, but it doesn't. Oh, there we go. Okay. Not sure how well this does actually zoom in on these things. It's probably right at the limit of the macro zoom. There you go. Hopefully, that's been a bit of entertainment for you. As for me, that's for sure. Cheers now. Thanks for watching.